There was once a boy who was called a genius in a small town. Everyone was certain that he was destined for greatness because his intelligence was far beyond that of his peers. But what no one expected was that this very intelligence would push him into the most painful failure of his life. That boy's name was Ethan, a kid who once dreamed of becoming a doctor and was praised as having a bright future ahead. But behind all those compliments was a harsh truth. Ethan couldn't control his own mind, and then an unexpected event forced him to face the ultimate question. Is being smart alone really enough to succeed? Ethan grew up believing that he was born to succeed. At school, he was always the fastest to solve problems, the one with the highest scores in class, and he didn't even have to try that hard. Because of that, he started to believe that intelligence was the only key to unlocking every door in life. In everyone else's eyes, Ethan was a child prodigy. But in his own eyes, he was someone who didn't even need to try to stay ahead of everyone else. The problem came when he actually had to sit down and study seriously. Every time he opened a book, Ethan's mind drifted away. One minute he was thinking about his dream of becoming a doctor, and the next he was scrolling through his phone, lost in Facebook and YouTube. He kept telling himself, "It's fine, I still have plenty of time. I'll study later." But that later never really came. Day after day, Ethan slowly became a victim of his own intelligence. He didn't see the need for discipline, didn't see the need to focus, because he believed his natural smarts would always save him. While his friends worked hard and trained themselves hour after hour, Ethan believed that when the exams came, he would shine effortlessly without preparation. What he didn't know was that this illusion was slowly pulling him further away from his dream. As the day of the scholarship results drew near, Ethan still felt confident. He believed that even without serious studying, his intelligence would carry him through. In his mind, winning was almost guaranteed. But when the list was posted on the board, everything collapsed in just 1 second. His name wasn't there. Ethan froze. His heart pounded, then sank heavy. The same friends who had worked tirelessly every day were now being called out for their outstanding scores. His parents, his teachers, the very people who once praised his brilliance now looked at him with disappointment. It wasn't just a failure in one exam, it was a crushing blow to his deepest belief. Being smart is enough to succeed. That night, Ethan sat alone in his room. Shame kept him from even looking at himself in the mirror. He knew he wasn't lacking intelligence. He had simply wasted it with procrastination and distraction. In that moment, Ethan realized a truth that was simple but painful. Talent is only potential. Without discipline, it will never become reality. On his most discouraging days, Ethan would wander to the school sports field to blow off some steam. That was where he met Coach Harris, the gym coach known not just for building strong bodies, but also for shaping strong minds and discipline. People often said that under his guidance, even the laziest kids eventually changed. Ethan walked up, his voice trembling. "Coach, I cannot focus on my studies. I know I am smart, but every time I sit down, my mind just runs everywhere. What should I do?" Coach Harris smiled, his eyes kind but steady. "Controlling the mind is never easy, Ethan. But if you want success, this is the most important battle of your life." What Ethan did not realize was that from that very moment, his life would take a completely different turn. The next day, Coach Harris took Ethan out to the field, just as the sky was growing dim. He did not bring any books or lessons. Instead, he carried a small flashlight. He clicked it on, and a sharp beam of light cut through the darkness, landing on a wall far ahead. "Ethan, what do you see?" the coach asked. "Just one bright spot in the dark," Ethan answered. Coach nodded. "That is focus. When all the light is directed toward one single point, it becomes clear and powerful. But if it scatters everywhere, you cannot see anything clearly. Your mind works the same way. If you let it chase after everything, your phone, social media, distractions, you will never reach your real goal." Ethan stood still. For the first time, he understood why he had failed. It was not because he lacked intelligence, but because the light of his mind had never been focused. After the lesson with the flashlight, Ethan could not hide his curiosity. He asked, "Coach, then how do I really change? How do I keep my mind from running wild?" Coach Harris smiled. "To control your mind, you need discipline. And discipline begins with 4 simple rules. If you follow them, they can change your entire life." He raised one finger. Rule number 1, master your thoughts. Whenever your mind drifts away, pull it back to your goal. Do not let your thoughts control you. You control your thoughts. A second finger. Rule number 2, own your schedule. Set exact times for studying, resting, eating, sleeping. Do it long enough and your brain will fall into that rhythm automatically. A third finger. Rule number 3, remove distractions. Phones, TV, games. They are nothing but time thieves. When it is time to study, keep them out of reach. Focus needs a clean environment. Finally, he closed his hand into a fist. Rule number 4, practice every single day. No change ever happens overnight. Discipline is built from small steps, repeated again and again. The more consistent you are, the closer you get to your goal. Ethan listened, his heartbeat quickening. These were no longer vague pieces of advice. This was a roadmap out of the spiral of procrastination. He realized that if he truly wanted to become a doctor, this was the only path forward. In the first days of following the 4 rules, Ethan felt like he was battling against himself. Every time he picked up a book, his hand reached for the phone. Every time he looked at his study schedule, he thought of a dozen excuses to delay. There were moments when Ethan almost gave up. But then he remembered Coach Harris's words. Discipline does not come overnight. It comes little by little each time you win against yourself. Ethan started small. He turned off his phone for just 1 hour, studied for only 30 minutes without letting his mind wander. The next day, he pushed it to 1 hour, then 2. Step by step, those tiny victories grew into powerful habits. Slowly, he began to notice the difference. Before, whenever he sat at his desk, his mind jumped everywhere. But now, when he opened a book, he could dive deep into the knowledge for hours without forcing himself. The packed schedule that once looked like a burden now became a guiding friend. A month later, the big exam arrived. Ethan not only passed, he took first place. For the first time in his life, he understood that this victory was not thanks to natural intelligence, but to the discipline he had built day by day. In that moment, Ethan knew he was finally on the right path to turning his dream of becoming a doctor into reality. When Ethan walked on stage to receive his scholarship, the spotlight shone across his glowing face, and in that moment, the voice of Coach Harris echoed in his mind. The coach had once said, "The mind is like a wild horse. If you do not control it, it will drag you everywhere and never reach the destination. But if you train it, it becomes the power that can take you anywhere you dream of." Ethan felt the full weight of those words. He knew he had not only conquered an exam, but conquered himself. From that day on, he held firm to this principle. Intelligence may open the door, but discipline is what leads you through it. Ethan's story shows us a clear truth. Being smart is only the beginning. Discipline is what decides how far you will go. If you are dreaming of a great future, remember this. Intelligence needs the guidance of habit and focus. And if you believe this lesson could help someone, share this video with them. And do not forget to like and subscribe so you can join us for more inspiring stories to come.